Love this guy. Enjoyed his call last night. And I'm not just saying that because I'm held captive to it, listening to the broadcast. Because I do the pregame and halftime of Monday Night Football, and Westwood won. We just wrapped up the season finale for the regular season on that. We'll be doing the I'll be doing the playoff game in a couple of Mondays now. And he does the game with Kevin Harlan, and of course he's one of my best friends. I consider him such. Because I sit right down the row from him on NFL Game Day morning. He's Pro Football Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. How are you doing, Kurt?
I am doing really well, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Wait, Kurt, do you consider Rich one of your best friends? Because that's always an interesting thing. Like, Rich considers you a best friend, but are you his best friend?
Of course I do. You know, we talk every Monday. We're down, like you said, down the row from each other.
Okay.
Yeah, he came to the premiere.
I did come to the premiere.
You went to the premiere.
All those check marks.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was there for him.
All right.
Were you there for him?
Well, I didn't get invited.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I guess you're not one of his best friends. You know? I was just recounting about how we were there that opening night, and you're telling the Matrix, you're stiff-arming the Matrix right now in the box office, Kurt. This is pretty cool.
It's been good. It's been fun, and as you know, movies kind of like this is about word of mouth as much as anything. When people see it and people enjoy it, and they tell their friend and they tell their friend, and that's really what's happened. Is that everybody that's gone and seen it has really, really enjoyed the movie. As you know, a little bit different than maybe what you expect when you go in, but football fans, non-football fans, and that to me was the true test, is when you have people that are non-football fans, or, you have people tweet you, I got drugged to the movie by my husband or my friend or whatever, and then they came out of the thing loving the movie. That's when you've got a good movie, that it touches everybody, and especially people that are going when they don't really want to go. They don't think they're going to enjoy it, and then they come out of the theater enjoying it.
Yeah, you've come a long way since those $100 touchdown bonuses with the Barnstormers, right?
A long way. But, incentive bonuses are always good, no matter where you're at in life.
Pretty much. Absolutely. All right, so let's just jump into it. What do you make of Baker Mayfield right now after this season that does appear to be over? He's already talking about, how banged up he is, surgery's coming, and he may not play the final game. What do you see when you see Baker Mayfield?
I think you see a guy that has all kinds of potential, and you see a guy that has shown you moments of, saying, hey, I can be elite at this level. But you see a guy that's been majorly inconsistent with all of those things. I believe Cleveland says, hey, we've got the leader that we want off the field, a guy that, is going to be the same guy, a tough guy, a guy that can – he's going to stand in there, and you just talked about all the things that he's been through this year. He's going to be there, and he's going to show up, and he's going to battle and lead his team, and he's not going to shy away from the criticism, all the stuff that you want from your franchise guy off the field. The question becomes, can you give us that same sort of consistency on the field? And, you got to figure out put your finger on what exactly is it. When you see those moments, and there was a couple of them last night where he just made some big-time throws where you just like, man, a guy in your face, and it's a second-level throw, and you see all the ability, and you go, man, why can't we get that every single time, every game? You got to ask yourself with the team that he's got. I look at Baker Mayfield, and I say to myself, Baker Mayfield, if he's going to be that next level in the NFL, he's going to have to be in an offense where he can make difference-making throws with his arm, but probably not asked to make 40 throws with his arm, because the consistency hasn't been there, accuracy-wise and decision-making to do that. But he can make those big-time throws. And so maybe I look at a guy like Carson Wentz and where he's at this year, and you see it. A couple Sundays ago on Christmas when we called that game, he made a throw that, I still, when I think back to it, I'm like, man, I can't even believe he took the opportunity to throw it. And not only that, he made the throw, and you go, Baker's got that in him. But I don't know if he can be, an Aaron Rodgers type guy, a Tom Brady type guy that you can lean on in every given moment. And you also got to look at the team that they've got. I was talking about a little bit last night, and you say to yourself, okay, who's the guy that we have that we can count on when we're throwing the football to give us those big plays, to consistently make the catch or get open and make the game easier for your quarterback. And right now, I don't believe they have that guy on offense either. And so we're going to throw it all on Baker. But I don't know if they have the pieces, whether Baker's the right guy or they have the pieces around him to say that they can be a throw-first type football team anywhere in the near future.
Well, I mean, Odell was supposed to be that guy, right? That's who that guy was supposed to be, and the fact that he's not there and now making fingertip catches on fourth down, leading to touchdown, game-winning catches for the Rams in the very week in which we just saw the Browns be eliminated from play before they even took the field last night, makes you just wonder. Is it the quarterback? And I've been the one who's been pounding this very table right here from the show and caping for Baker. And the time, unfortunately, of saying he could be the guy is kind of up because there's 1 year to go, and you got to sit here and say first overall pick quarterbacks who get a second contract, that usually starts with a high 3 or a low 4 in terms of an annual salary. So what do you do if you're Cleveland making this evaluation right now, Kurt, if you were that guy?
Yeah, the bottom line is you're not making that decision right now. And if you have to, you can't give him that contract. He hasn't shown that he can be the guy to the point where you can, like you said, the 30s or the 40s, and give him that sort of contract, especially when I look at this team and I say you need a lot more on this team to compete for a championship. So you got to spend that money in other places. And so, can they hold out this entire next year as they've got that fifth-year option and see if he becomes that guy and becomes more consistent and then make that decision? Or is this kind of one of those things like we're going to play out this fifth year and maybe Baker will want to go somewhere else and we won't have the opportunity to do that. But I don't think you can make that decision until you see one full consistent year from him at the quarterback spot. And I say all that looking from a big picture. Let's also remember this is Cleveland. And he's done some things in these few years and taken with the playoffs last year that quarterbacks haven't done in Cleveland for a long, long, long time. So he has shown us that he can be better than a lot of guys they had. But that becomes the question that a lot of these teams face is that good enough for us to pay that kind of money to a guy that's better than what we've had, but not a guy we feel that will win us a championship right now?
Would you give that money, Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show, would you give that money to Lamar? The Ravens have yet to do that. It looks like he can't finish the season. And I know he's an MVP guy, and he had an MVP first half of the season. But what do you think of his evaluation? Because Allen's gotten it, and we know Darnold's not going to get it, and obviously Josh Rosen needs to find a spot where he can prove whatever he can. What do you think?
I believe Lamar has shown us a level of consistency that, yes, you can warrant that big contract for Lamar. Obviously, the MVP, they've won a lot of football games when he's in there. They're a playoff team year in and year out. And so that, to me, says, yes, you can call him a franchise quarterback. I still want to see more from him before I'm convinced he's a championship quarterback, that he can, play in the pocket and play away from his strengths to a level that I believe can compete with the Mahomes and those types of guys. But, he's still learning. We knew coming in that was going to be the part of his game that he was going to have to learn and grow in. And he's done so much outside of that to say, while he's learning that, we will still win games. And so, yeah, I think Lamar is a guy that has proven that he will be that guy athletically, a guy that can carry you, the leader that, everybody loves him and will battle for him in the organization, that it warrants getting that big contract in a different way than what Baker's done.
Kurt Warner here on the Rich Eisen Show. I'm going to give you a sports talk radio setup here, and you tell me if I'm right or you would believe this. Let's take everybody from the draft class of 2018 that we just mentioned, and then Kyler Murray and his draft class, right? And then 2020 and 2021, and let's even throw in what we're going to see this year, whoever that might be. The best quarterback to be coming out of all that winds up 5 years from now as Joe Burrow. Would you believe that, Kurt Warner?
100%. 100%. And, I think there's going to be other guys, Lamar and Kyler. We talked about that.
Josh Allen
will
too.
Yeah, Josh Allen, which do some really flashy things because athletically, they're at another level than a Joe Burrow. But I've said this for years, and I'm sure I'm a little bit biased because I played the game this way. But I just believe if you can play the game mentally inside the pocket, that you will always be good at the position. If you can do that. Now, all the extra stuff, you got to give me some extra stuff to be a great quarterback. But if you can do that, you will always be good at the position. And Joe Burrow is doing that at an elite level. He's doing that, and he's got some elite players around him, which, as I know very well, that plays a huge part in being able to reach your potential if you're a pocket passer. You better have some guys around you that, can accentuate what you do. And they have those guys. And I've seen it from the start, too. When I watched him play last year, we talk a lot about Mac Jones and the way that he's played as a rookie. I saw all this stuff from Joe Burrow, and you saw the little bit extra and the leadership and the attitude and the toughness that he brings to the table. And so I would not be surprised one bit if we're saying, I think there's some people that are already talking about him in that category of being a top 5 quarterback right now. We've seen the last couple of weeks, over 900 yards passing and big play after big play. And I really like Joe Burrow. So that statement would 100% in my mind could be an accurate statement a couple years down the road.
He's so good, isn't he? He really
very good.
Really is. And there's something about culture changing, too, that's not easy. You can't just snap your fingers. But having Jamar Chase sitting there outside, inside, all over the place, that guy is amazing. He's run away from the Ravens defense. He's run away from the Chiefs defense. How deep do you think the Bengals can go this year, right now, Kurt? What do you think?
First of all, you always have to ask yourself, can they beat anybody? Yes, I think they can beat anybody. They showed they can beat the Chiefs. I believe they've got enough talent and enough explosiveness that they could beat anybody. Where they've struggled this year is when they haven't been able to generate the big plays. They haven't quite been consistent enough, especially in the front areas, offensive line, defensive line, to be able to work the football and score points and stay up with people in those situations. So that, to me, is going to be the question come playoff time. Can they live in the big play world? And if they can, because they've got all those playmakers around them, I think they can make a run and they can beat anybody in the playoffs. But, I'm not sitting here saying they're one of my favorites to go to the Super Bowl, because I have seen a number of games where they've really struggled in those areas and haven't put it all completely together yet. So good team, beat everybody. Not quite sure they're a championship team at this point.
All right, so we're about 10 days away from that mulligan that we get on game day morning that we were afforded on Thanksgiving Day of our preseason Super Bowl picks. Who did you choose again? I don't recall. And that's not a joke.
I actually picked Buffalo and actually the Cardinals at that. I think that's what I finished up with.
And you stuck with that. You stuck with that at Thanksgiving?
No, I think that's what I switched to at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Or the last time we went to it.
All right. So what are you thinking 10 days from now?
10 days from now. Right now, I'm going to give the Chiefs the advantage in the AFC.
You still are.
If I've got to pick somebody, just believe that they're going to be the most consistent. They're going to be a team that can beat you on both sides. And then they got that guy at quarterback that's been there and done that. I'm going to go there in the AFC side, even though the Titans at home, they get King Henry back. That's going to be a fun matchup because I like the way they're playing. The Bills and the Bengals we talked about on the show both have beaten the Chiefs. So I still think it's wide open, but I'll give the edge there to the Chiefs. And on the other side, I would go Green Bay. I can't remember when we did our redos if anybody picked Green Bay on the NFC side. But they've been the most consistent team. They've had the most consistent quarterback. And they get home field advantage. And so those are three things to me that it's what the playoffs are all about is, can you win different ways? Your quarterback, do you know what you're going to get? And have you shown that you can do it week in and week out? And the Packers have. And so right now, as wide open as both conferences are, I look at this and say, I think the two best teams at this point in time are the Chiefs and the Packers.
And the thing that's really crazy, Kurt, is that there's obviously one guy that's standing in the way of Green Bay. And, I'm talking to you a night after you're calling a game that's the final game at home of a guy who you played in a Super Bowl against, right? Like Big Ben's coming now. He's about to go. You're a Hall of Famer now with a movie in theaters near you about you and Brenda and your whole family's life. And the guy that's standing in the way is a guy who prevented you from winning your second Super Bowl, and he's now 44 years old, and we can't discount him. It's insane. It really is nuts every single time you try to put Tom Brady in perspective. So where do you stand on all that? And I know, again, they're banged up. Antonio Brown, I don't think that's going to leave a lingering mark on them like it did, say, the Raiders when he imploded there. Brady's been through losing Brown before in New England. So I don't know. What do you make of the Bucs right now and everything going on there, Kurt?
I think they're still dangerous. I think their defense has the capabilities of taking over. Watch that game against the Jets last week with Brady, and there was a couple throws in that game that I had to go back and rewind again and just kind of go, dang, really? He made those throws, at this age. And so, Godwin's going to hurt. He's a difference maker because he does different things. But get Mike Evans back, the tight ends, and the way that they can play. Ronald Jones, even if, playoff Lenny isn't able to be 100%, I like Ronald Jones. I think he's a really, really good back and should have played more all year long. And then they've got some young receivers that are coming into their own that, that can be some difference makers on the outside. So, I will not discount them one bit in the big moment with that guy behind center and with the team that they have. They've got a lot of really good pieces on that team that I believe can compete with anybody. And so, they've been, knocked down a little bit the last couple weeks. But, I know everybody in the NFC, you can look at a lot of different teams. You're definitely going to know where number 12 is and how they're playing and whether you've got to play them in the playoffs or not, because they're still right up there in my opinion.
Kurt, you're the best. Look, everyone knows you're pure in terms of your intensity, in terms of your commitment, in terms of everything. And in case they've forgotten about it, I'm not talking about the movie in theaters near you. I'm talking about the fact that you wore that shiny jacket again last night. You only know one speed. You know what I mean, Kurt?
Yeah, that's right. You got to bring it. You got to always bring it, no matter what the situation, and no matter what people say on Twitter. You bring it, and I'll be there to bring it. So anytime I got a cold weather city that I'm going to, you may just see the shiny silver jacket.
Now, is that another way of saying Brenda picked this for you, or like what's the history? What's the history?
How did that sound anything like Brenda picked that for me?
I don't know, Kurt. It's just, I all I know is if I wore something on the air that trended and it wasn't Susie supported the second time around, that thing would be gone. That thing would be history. Well, no, that thing would be the center of the earth right now.
Definitely Brenda supported.
Okay.
Yes, I definitely got the stamp of approval from Brenda.
Uh-huh.
And she's all for it. Yes.
Okay. All right. What did you say, Chris?
So you picked it out. You're taking ownership of this decision.
Well, yeah,
He's the American underdog, Chris. Yes, fighting against odds.
Group effort in the Warner household.
Yes, you're gonna see the movie.
So you're gonna rally behind this jacket, and you can win games with that jacket.
We're gonna rally around the jacket. Thanks for the call, Kurt. I appreciate it.
You bet, buddy.
All right,
we'll talk to you.
See you Sunday. So Saturday. See you Saturday. It's Kurt Warner, everybody.
Kurt, thanks again.
You're going to rally around the jacket. That's a good one, Chris.
Thank you.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.